Hello, welcome back to the ministry, and today we are talking about should you know who your God ordained spouse is? You need to understand that there is a level of frequency of prayer that you must be willing to position yourself in when you know this information. Because them cutesy little prayers that you be praying, Lord, protect my God ordained spouse, and this, that, and the other, and I hope he has a good day, and that is so surface. No. No. That's what the devil wants you to do. Pray them surface prayers. That way, when he's hitting that man with every form of attack, your prayer ain't doing a daggone thing for him, because all you doing is praying the cute little prayers. I admit it, I did it in the beginning too, because I ain't know no better. It isn't until that God shows you and gives you a strategic plan of prayer, what to pray, how to pray, giving you prayers to get ahead of an attack, getting you a prayer to get behind one that will prevent any retaliatory moves after you done prayed. He will give you strategy in order to lighten the warfare for you and for them. They will literally be able to feel their help come on. And vice versa. You'll know when they praying because you won't experience as much warfare on your end either. Eventually that man or woman will shake the witchcraft enough to start praying for you in return. And when they are attacked even more, because the enemy now knows you're covering each other and feels that he has to reinstate or put whatever it was that he was doing back into position. I'll never forget the dream that I had that one time where I had been doing all this prayer, I'd done all this consecration, I'd done all this stuff, and the Lord brought to my attention in the dream that it was a particular person that he used as a familiar spirit, that I came into contact with this individual, surprisingly enough, in the kitchen, and this person turned to me and had this sickeningly sweet smile on her face as she said, "You broke it. Now we're going to have to put it back." Simple as that. I was like, which has caused me to have to pray even more to make sure that any attempts that they try to, because remember, when you break something, as I said before, the scripture, when the enemy sees his house swept clean, he sends 7 other demons worse than he was, thereby bringing up lust, perversion, masturbation, sexual immorality outside of marriage, acting in their own will, operating in rebellion, rejection, twisting words, all these kinds of things, just to consistently attack this individual, to make it so that it's like it's a myriad of an assault in order to attack your connection, so that you will get weakened, and you will, when they try to do a splitting spell or a severing spell or try to break you, it will show the perspective and you will feel skewed. It will make it hard, and it will cause you to have to deal with the attempts to break free of the magic. And together you're going to have to, because the enemy knows that together you're going to be a whole problem for hell, is pretty much what it is. Free will is real. Yes, you got free will. They got free will. That individual could look at you and say, I don't want that. But in them making the choice to say, I don't want that individual, the one that's protecting them, the one that's praying for them, the one that's standing for them. I heard a minister put it this way, and it was such a beautiful way that he put it. He said that it's an Instagram reel that says, you gonna miss me when I'm gone. Because you gonna miss the way that I pray for you. You gonna miss the way that I cover you. You gonna miss the way that I do this for you. You gonna miss it. A person don't understand until that's been removed. Just how much is a necessity that be there. The person can operate in their own will. They can operate, and that's exactly what the enemy wants. Like, please don't receive them. Please don't associate with them. Please allow this split and spell to split the two of you apart and make you feel like you operate in a level of rebellion, or you need to or operate in your own will. Please do. Because when you do that, then I can send in every attacker that looks like it's your flavor. And the second that they catch you up, this one might be the one that's going to take you out. Because now that person is no longer praying for you, there are things that individual was preventing from hitting your life. And you didn't see it. And because you didn't see it, didn't understand it, but you just saw them as a threat. You just saw them as a situation or circumstance that was an issue for you. Now you know. Now you had the understanding. Now you can see, because once they stopped, the level of warfare came back worse. And you were like, whoa, 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 whoa. And you take a person that makes a decision, I'm tired of standing. And it don't even have to be a person saying that they're tired of standing. It could be a person that makes a decision that this is taking too long. This is what have you. Because some of y'all do that. Why would you spend all this time standing for this individual? Understand that the warfare is going to get 10 times harder just before the manifestation. So why are you going to get weak and tired now? Go back and read the scripture on the walls of Jericho. They had to walk around them walls 6 days once. The last day, how many times they have to walk? 7 in one day. They could not speak. They could not complain. They could not. So if you understand that, understand when it's almost time for the manifestation of that thing to come to pass, or even if the enemy thinks that it is. Honey child, please. He gonna throw every myriad of attack at you 5 ways from Sunday. Because he's like, oh no. Understand, I'm not saying this because I'm trying to scare you. I'm saying this because it's happening. When I say it's a wave that has occurred, every person that I follow that I know's been standing for their marriage, all of them went through warfare this week. It was so bad that a minister that had nothing to do with it was talking about the fact that a lot of y'all are weak and tired because y'all been in warfare. She ain't even know what we were praying about. And she was in alignment to pray for everybody else. Yo, this is a thing. This is real. This is legit. This ain't no game. This ain't no game time. This ain't, This is happening. Anybody that is choosing to operate in their free will, operating in rebellion, because what happens is, and we know it, the person sees okay, this person praying for me, but I feel like I'm interested in this individual. So I'm not going to say that I want to be involved with that because I want to sit up here and rebel and act like and be over here with this individual because they look like my flavor and they look like my taste and they look like this, that, and the other because they are operating in a level of pride and they're going to go right to the person that's going to kill them. Right into the enemy's hand, right into their trap. From the frying pan into the fire. And the devil is operating in these persons in order to run them from God because they feel like they operate in their own choice, operating in their own control, which is strictly pride. And they are positioning themselves to receive a whole new slew of curses. Remember what I said, the person wanted to put the curses back on the individual. But what happens? The woman that they desire to be involved with is going to what? Desire to control them. He's going to end up ruling over her. And then he's going to end up toiling because he's operating in disobedience where he should have been over there. Because that is the curse that God put on the man and the woman in the garden. If you are in obedience to God, you won't dare date as a single Christian. A woman won't date because they already know who their husband is. Vice versa. They already knew who the person is. Why would you date? Understanding that if you're praying, see, this is the one reason that would be a thing to know who your God ordained spouse is, because then you don't have to waste your time dating and doing all this with a counterfeit, because then you end up the very thing that you trying to pray against. And notice this: if you're sitting there trying to pray for your God ordained spouse and you're entertaining a counterfeit, you think that that counterfeit that you are entertaining is not sent by Satan to monitor you, to watch you, to gather information from you, to potentially get you to slip up and to slip into all of the forms of rebellion that the enemy, that you were just sitting there trying to break off your God ordained spouse because you what? Well, I just want I'm worthy of going out on dates. Because people need to know my work. I'm going to go out and enjoy myself. Yeah, you do that if you want to, but understand that individual. But I'm not actually getting a relationship with them. Let me explain something to you. I was two different women. I listened to their story, and it is a perfect example of understanding is not a necessity. If you know who your God ordained spouse, and this young woman knew who her God ordained spouse was, the whole time she was sitting there on a date with somebody else, she found herself laughing to herself because she knew that she didn't belong there. But in a secondary scenario, the woman was dating and she sat and she had lunch with the individual, only to come to find out that the individual was still married to somebody but was trying to finagle the way that he said that he was still involved with a person. He's like, oh, I'm no longer involved with the person, but we still married, but see, we getting a divorce. And she was like, good now. Don't get yourself caught up in confusion because you want attention because your God ordained spouse ain't there yet. What we out here doing? And those types of individuals can't fool somebody that's walking with God in an appropriate manner. And what ends up happening is you end up wasting your time because that individual, Now, I will give you this. there are going to be times that God may send you or have you talking to a person of the opposite sex, because there's something you need to say to that individual that God needs for them to get from you. But that does not mean that that person is your person. Not at all. Especially for those of you that do not know who your God ordained spouse is. A lot of Christian women, and I see this happen a lot, is what end up happening is just because a man approached you and you've been in your single season all this time, you think that God done sent that man from heaven to you. No, this is another reason why you need to stand with God for the manifestation of your marriage, for you to know who your man is, because you'll sit up there and be putting on, that's exactly what that counterfeit did. You'll be doing the exact thing the counterfeit did to this individual, and you ain't their spouse. What we out here doing? And for some of you, your God ordained spouses, they wasn't stupid, nor were they dumb. When God told you who they were, God told them too. I'm going to tell you right now, I know that my God ordained spouse has known about me for anywhere from 6 years or a little bit longer. Why? Because the Lord showed me a split screen in a dream about 6 years ago around Christmas time. And when he showed me that split screen in that dream, he showed me I'm testing you and I'm testing them. But what happens is the man will sit up there and be doing their due dirt, knowing exactly who you are. But because they operate in a spirit of rebellion, some of it's due to witchcraft, some of it's due to the fact that they operate in rebellion because of their own will, to feeling like, I don't want to do this and I ain't ready for that. And they realized that you weren't going away and that you were waiting for them. And because they realized you were waiting for them, they were like, well, she waiting anyway. I can do what I want until I feel like I won't go over there. But see, there's a problem in that. Let me tell you why. Because there are risks. Risks of STDs, HIVs, pregnancies out of wedlock, and or illness and premature death. But what you mean? The fact that to entertain a counterfeit, let me explain something to you. This is somebody, I heard my pastor tell this story a couple years back. He told about this young woman. She was in her season of marriage. She was preparing to marry a man. And this other man, her flavor, sweet, kind, treated her nicely. This was straightly, sound like it came right out of the movie Temptations of a Marriage Counselor. Dude come around, start hanging around her, talking some smack talk. She and turn around sleeping with him. She caught HIV. Had to tell her fiance. The relationship ended up ending, and she got carried at with her. Another scenario, the woman was entertaining a counterfeit, was planning on marrying this man. The day of the wedding, the Lord said, do not marry him. Didn't even tell her why. But she was sitting up there like, oh my God, I got all these people, I got all this stuff, and all these people are sitting out there waiting for us. And then it's like, God said, do not marry them. She listened to God. Come to find out, man had HIV. Had she married him and slept with him that night, she'd end up with HIV. Third case, another woman I used to know. She literally had a situation. She thought this guy was perfect, had a great relationship with him. He was He was the one that you would think was the one that was perfect for her, because he was a pastor, he was following God, he was doing everything, would line up and check off every box. She married him out of God's will when he told her don't do it. And you know what he ended up doing? Beating her senseless for years. She was sitting up there in the pulpit as this man's wife, first lady of the church, and he was beating the hell out of her. Do not entertain counterfeits. You would be covered if you were in the right place, because you're doing and dealing with opening yourself up to soul ties, spirit husbands, spirit wives, and marine spirits, incubus and succubus spirits. And then you end up, now that you done opened yourself up, guess what? You gotta have that stuff broken off of you before you can enter your marriage with your God or their spouse while he was doing all that he was doing. So now you gotta do double work, because you gotta get the stuff off of you and them. And 9 times out of 10, when a counterfeit come along, it's not because you lonely. It's because your husband was around the corner and you turned around and you decided to get involved with somebody, which was literally a test on God's part to see if you was going to go and fall for it. And you did. And now you got to end up breaking all that stuff off. And your husband was literally sitting around the corner like, well, she done got involved with somebody now. I was just about to come over there. The counterfeits don't start acting up and coming around until your God ordained spouse be about ready to come. Get that. So with that understanding, you have to understand that you have a fight before you. Because when you are in kingdom, you have to see that that is there. And you have to understand that it isn't a physical fight. You are fighting in the spiritual, and you already spiritually are married to this individual, but the fight is there in order for you to see the physical manifestations. God will show you red flags. I'm going to tell you this, and I'm going to tell you this out of love. The reason that 9 times out of 10 you and your God ordained spouse are not together, there was a counterfeit that you was connected to prior to even joining this journey. I bet you can even figure out who they are. And once you figure out who that individual is, that is the same character traits your God ordained spouse was carrying when the Lord started working on him. But because he said that's the one for you, he started working on them. He started training them. He started prepping and preparing them, just like he started prepping and preparing you, so that he could clear up those pride traits, those confusion traits, those twisted lust, perversion, all that kind of stuff that was identical to what you dealt with the counterfeit. But because they had to deal with all of that kind of stuff, you got to be cautious, because of the fact that when you get into the relationship, 9 times out of 10, what you're seeing as red flags is them coming, just having last minute residue from their previous situation. They were out there in the world, you know. So they were out there dating, you come into Christ, all of these kind of stuff. And God is going to show you. God is going to show you your spouse. They're going to show you those elements that are nearly identical to you and whoever that counterfeit is. I've seen it too many times. That even for you, you will remind them of somebody they dated previous to you. And it's 9 times out of 10 the one that they were most drawn to, but couldn't get to act right to save their life, because that was the one that gave them the spiritual signal. But God's saying, you're the one that's going to be the right thing. I can literally look at the man that the Lord has shown me is my God ordained spouse characteristic wise. When I tell you he's almost identical to the man that I last dated, the only difference is he's way better. But the reason that I had to stand and all of this kind of stuff was to break off the parts of him that were red flags and identical to the things that my ex had to deal with. But God said, nah, this is the one that you're standing for. I wouldn't have never have even wanted to stand for the old guy. And that's the truth. Even when that guy comes up in my memory bank, I'm kind of like, it was what it was, but we ain't gonna have no melancholy memories and Mm-mm. I appreciate the time that we had, but either I'm praying you into what's necessary for you to get to God, but I more than definitely am not doing anything but getting you closer to God. Don't come near me, I won't see you. I'm here about getting you closer to God. That's it. If I pray for you at all, don't enter my spiritual space, don't enter my memory space. If you stay around my spiritual space too long, I'm going to pray you into your trauma. So that God can have that woman that's supposed to pray you out. Because all I'm going to do is pray you into road to Damascus. That's it. I ain't the one. So with that being said, you have to understand that there is a level of there being open doors. And the counterfeit is 9 times out of 10 used in order to keep doors open, keep the enemy having an access point to this individual, and to keep curses in place, operating in spirits that will actually keep this individual in bondage, reinstate bondage, keep them in bondage, operate in levels of bondage. And then when these things are no longer working and they can't get to them physically, they will try to go into their spirit realm and attack them through dreams, lust, perversion, masturbation, masquerading spirits, all of this kind of stuff. And this is when you'll start to notice certain things happening in your dreams, trying to figure out why in the world are my dreams starting to act foolish, because they may be trying to access your God ordained spouse's dreams because of the fact that, oh, he's not spiritually aware. So because he ain't spiritually aware, we can hit him in the dream realm in order to get him spiritually activated by getting him to eat something, getting him in spiritual perversion and lust dreams, getting him in the element where he's doing certain things or desiring to deal with spirits, or spiritually attacking him in the dream. And some ways, the enemy will what he will also do is try to spiritually, from a mature folks, he'll try to spiritually rape you in a dream. It's happened to me several times in the dream, but the whenever this type of attack comes in your dreams, it's because the enemy's trying to steal something from you. But what happens for me when I have these kinds of dreams, 9 times out of 10, he can't get my clothes off because I'm already shielded and covered in the blood of Jesus, so he cannot attack me. But I don't know what happens to your God's name spouse because they ain't spiritually aware. And I've actually heard from other people saying it for their spouses that they heard in the spirit realm this person being attacked in the dream realm to that capacity while they were in the dream, meaning they were in one dream area and their spouse was in the other, and they literally witnessed the attack through a door or something like that, but could not get to them. The enemy ain't playing fair out here. Oh, hell no. They will do these types of attacks to steal from them, to attack their heart, to get them to turn against you, to have them having issues with pride, and all of this in order to come against the ability for the manifestation of what it is that God's trying to have. Because at the end of the day, they're trying to separate y'all purposely so that y'all can't complete your purpose. And when God gets fed up with the games, he's going to choose what he's going to do. And when he does, he's going to start stripping. That's what I was talking about in It's a Raid. God's going to come in and he's going to just start stripping everything. I'm going to take this, and this because they are operating in disobedience and they time done ran out. Go back and look at my review of the movie Out of Time. God will bless you with a husband or wife, but if the person is not ready, he ain't going to bless you with that because it will feel like a curse instead of a blessing. By you coming together with your spouse, you are preventing illness from hitting them. You are preventing things from hitting them. We already went over the sleep. I already told that story. You have the ability to protect each other mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. You are protecting each other from witchcraft, and it clears certain things. With that being said, they'll experience deliverance from tormenting spirits, and you will have to operate in celibacy, preventing open doors. And these open doors, because if they're not operating in the right heart posture spiritually, they will open a door that will cause an attack to come through you. But if you're operating in celibacy and not allowing the flesh to come upon you, you will be safe. And the union will be protected. And that is all there is to say.